The grand lobby of the luxury hotel exuded elegance, with crystal chandeliers hanging overhead and soft piano music playing in the background. Guests in designer suits and gowns moved gracefully through the space, their conversations hushed and refined. Among them, Elon Musk stood near the reception desk, checking into his suite. His presence didn't go unnoticed. Whispers rippled through the crowd as people discreetly snapped photos, recognizing the billionaire entrepreneur. But the tranquil atmosphere was shattered by the thunderous roar of motorcycle engines. A group of leather-clad bikers stormed into the lobby, their boots clunking loudly against the marble floor. Hotel staff froze in place, their polished smiles faltering as the bikers' raucous laughter filled the room. "Nice place," one of them sneered, slapping a brass fixture for effect. Another biker, a wiry man with a cocky grin, surveyed the crowd. "Bet the food's as overpriced as the people," he joked, earning laughter from his crew. It didn't take long for their attention to land on Elon. Grizz, the group's leader, nudged his buddy and smirked. "Well, look who we've got here. The man who's trying to save the planet with his silent cars and spaceships." The bikers sauntered over, their mocking voices growing louder. "Hey Musk," Sparks called out. "Do electric bikes come with training wheels? Or are they extra?" Elon turned slowly, his calm expression unchanging. The crowd watched with bated breath, curious about how the tech mogul would respond. Little did the bikers know, Elon was about to flip the script in a way they'd never see coming. The clash. Elon versus the bikers. The bikers stood in a loose semicircle around Elon, their laughter echoing through the grand lobby. Grizz, their leader, crossed his arms and leaned in slightly. "So, what brings the great Elon Musk to a place like this? Thought you'd be too busy building spaceships or counting your billions." Elon glanced at Grizz, his expression calm but sharp. "Even billionaires need a vacation," he replied, his tone light. Sparks, the wiry biker, chuckled and pointed at the Tesla keycard in Elon's hand. "Vacation? In that silent little spaceship you call a car? You must miss the roar of a real engine." The other bikers laughed, egging Sparks on. "Maybe he's here to install chargers," one quipped, earning more snickers from the group. Elon raised an eyebrow, his calm demeanor unshaken. "I take it you're not fans of electric vehicles." Grizz smirked. "Fans? Let's just say we like machines with power, personality, and soul. Not some quiet battery on wheels." The comment drew a murmur from the nearby crowd, who were now openly watching the exchange. Elon tilted his head slightly, his gaze sharpening. "Power, personality, and soul? Interesting. What would you say if I told you that's exactly what Tesla stands for?" The biker's laughter faltered for a moment before Grizz recovered. "I'd say you've got a funny way of showing it, Musk. Your cars might be fast, but they don't have the heart of a real bike." Elon's lips curled into the faintest smile. "Maybe you're just not looking closely enough." The bikers exchanged glances, unsure whether Elon was serious or simply toying with them. Either way, the stage was set for a confrontation unlike anything they'd expected. Grizz leaned back, his grin widening as the tension thickened. "All right, Musk," he said, his voice carrying a mocking edge. "Why don't you enlighten us? How does a quiet little Tesla stack up against raw horsepower?" Elon maintained his composure, his voice steady. "You seem to equate noise with power. But real power doesn't need to shout. It speaks for itself." Sparks scoffed, shaking his head. "Oh, come on. You're telling me your silent machines have more soul than a roaring engine? That's rich, Musk." Elon's eyes glinted with quiet confidence as he stepped forward, narrowing the gap between him and the group. "Soul isn't about the sound an engine makes. It's about connection, precision, and the thrill of pushing boundaries. If you're up for it, I can show you exactly what I mean." The bikers exchanged skeptical glances, their bravado slightly shaken by Elon's unwavering calm. Grizz raised an eyebrow. "What are you suggesting, Musk? You want to drag race us? Because I don't see a track in this fancy hotel." Elon smirked faintly. "No, not a race. Something more educational. A challenge that requires more than speed. A test of strategy, discipline, and adaptability." Sparks laughed, his confidence returning. "Strategy and discipline? We're bikers, not businessmen. You sure you're not just trying to bore us into submission?" Elon didn't flinch. Think of it as a game, one that will test your ability to think ahead and adapt. If you're as confident as you claim, it should be easy. The crowd murmured, intrigued by Elon's proposal. The bikers, however, weren't sure whether to laugh or take the bait. Grizz's smirk faded slightly as he met Elon's gaze. All right, Musk, you've got our attention. What kind of game are we talking about? Elon's gaze swept across the group, his expression calm but unwavering. The game is simple, he began. It's a negotiation challenge, a test of your ability to strategize and outthink your opponents. Think of it as a business race, but without the need for engines. Grizz tilted his head, a skeptical smirk creeping back onto his face. Business? You really think we're the suit and tie type, Musk? Elon chuckled softly. Business isn't about wearing a suit. It's about understanding people, predicting outcomes, and finding creative solutions. Skills you already use on the road, whether you realize it or not. The bikers exchanged unsure glances, their bravado wavering under Elon's confident tone. Sparks scoffed, crossing his arms. All right, let's say we play. What's in it for us? Elon's faint smile widened. If you win, I'll cover your hotel stay and dinner at the most expensive restaurant in town. The crowd gasped softly, and Sparks raised an eyebrow. And if we lose? Elon's tone sharpened slightly, adding an edge of intrigue. If you lose, you'll spend the next hour learning the finer points of negotiation from me. And trust me, it won't be boring. The room buzzed with murmurs as the bikers considered the offer. Grizz stroked his beard thoughtfully, the challenge piquing his interest despite himself. You really think we're going to sit through one of your billionaire lectures if we lose? Elon met his gaze with steady confidence. You won't be sitting. You'll be competing. And I have a feeling you'll learn more than you expect. Grizz chuckled, shaking his head. All right, Musk, you've got yourself a deal. Let's see what this game of yours is all about. The crowd erupted in cheers as the stage was set, anticipation thick in the air. With the stakes set, Elon signaled to a hotel staff member, who wheeled in a sleek cart containing what appeared to be game boards, tokens, and digital tablets. The setup was a blend of traditional elements and cutting-edge Tesla tech, instantly grabbing everyone's attention. What is this? Sparks asked, eyeing the gear suspiciously. Elon gestured toward the setup. This is the negotiation game. It's part strategy, part problem-solving. Each of you will play as a business leader competing to secure deals, grow your company, and outmaneuver your rivals. The bikers exchanged skeptical glances, but curiosity was beginning to creep into their expressions. And what do we know about running a business? Tank muttered, folding his arms. Elon smiled. You know more than you think. Negotiation isn't just about contracts. It's about reading people, making decisions under pressure, and staying one step ahead. Sound familiar? Grizz smirked, leaning over the board. Sounds like a glorified poker night to me. Elon chuckled. Think of it as poker with more depth. Each decision you make will have consequences. Play it safe, and you might survive. Take risks, and you might thrive, or lose everything. The key is balance. The bikers hesitated for a moment longer. Then Sparks clapped his hands together. All right, Musk. Let's see if your brain games are as good as your big talk. As the bikers took their seats around the board, the crowd gathered closer, phones raised to capture the unusual scene. Elon stood at the head of the table, his calm confidence radiating as he began to explain the rules. Remember, he said, his tone carrying a quiet authority, this isn't about luck. It's about focus, adaptability, and reading the room. Let's see how well you can keep up. The first round began, and the bikers were in for a ride unlike anything they'd faced before. The negotiation game. The challenge begins. The room buzzed with a mix of excitement and curiosity as Elon stood at the head of the table, the sleek game boards and digital tablets glowing faintly under the hotel's grand chandeliers. The bikers, still slightly skeptical, leaned forward to listen as he began explaining the rules. Here's how it works, Elon said, his voice calm but commanding. Each of you starts with a basic company, represented by these tokens. Your goal is to grow your company by acquiring assets, securing deals, and expanding your influence. Each decision you make will either help you succeed or set you back. Grizz leaned back in his chair, his arms crossed. Sounds simple enough. What's the catch? Elon smirked faintly. The catch is that you're not just playing against the game, you're playing against each other. Deals are limited, resources are scarce, and every move you make can change the board for everyone else. It's not just about winning, it's about how you handle the pressure. Sparks tapped his fingers on the table, his curiosity piqued. And these tablets? Elon gestured to the devices. These are your dashboards. They'll show you your current resources, assets, and opportunities. You'll also use them to make decisions, whether to strike a deal, hold back, or outbid your opponents. Tank frowned, eyeing the setup. So, it's like chess, but with money? More like chess meets poker, Elon replied. You'll need strategy, but you'll also need to read each other. Bluffing, risk-taking, and knowing when to play it safe will be key. The bikers exchanged glances, their initial skepticism beginning to fade. Sparks grinned. All right, Musk. Let's see if this game of yours is as smart as you think it is. The crowd leaned in closer as Elon placed the first set of tokens on the board. Let's begin, he said, his tone firm yet inviting. The first move is yours. Grizz leaned forward, his fingers resting on the edge of the board. All right, Musk, he said with a smirk, let's see how this works. He tapped his tablet, reviewing the initial set of options displayed on the holographic dashboard. A grid of potential deals and assets hovered above the board, each with varying levels of risk and reward. Elon nodded. Your first decision will set the tone for your strategy. Choose carefully. Sometimes the smallest moves have the biggest impact. Grizz's smirk widened. Sounds like you're trying to psych me out. He selected a mid-level deal labeled Regional Supply Chain Acquisition. The hologram updated instantly, showing Grizz's company gaining a modest boost in resources. Nice move, Elon said, his tone neutral. Steady and calculated. But let's see how the others respond. Sparks was next, his fingers flying across his tablet. All right, I'm not here to play it safe, he announced. He chose a high-risk, high-reward option labeled Exclusive Tech Partnership. The hologram flickered, showing Sparks' company leaping ahead in market value, but losing a chunk of its available cash. The crowd murmured as Elon raised an eyebrow. Bold choice. But remember, overextending early can leave you vulnerable. Tank, slower and more deliberate, studied the board for a long moment. I'm keeping it simple, he muttered, selecting local infrastructure investment. His company's resources ticked up steadily, though not dramatically. Interesting, Elon observed. Low risk, stable growth, perfect for long-term play. The bikers exchanged glances, their competitive spirits beginning to surface. Grizz leaned over to Sparks. Big moves already? You trying to crash and burn in the first round? Sparks shrugged with a grin. Go big or go home, right? The first round concluded, and Elon smiled. Well done. But this was just the opening act. Let's see how you handle what comes next. The game had officially begun, and the stakes were only going to rise. The second round began, and the air around the table grew more charged. The bikers were fully engaged now, their earlier skepticism replaced with a mix of determination and competitiveness. Grizz, seeing his steady approach paying off, leaned into his strategy. All right, time to lock in some power moves, he said, selecting regional expansion strategy. His resources multiplied as his market influence expanded, but the holographic dashboard revealed new challenges. Rising costs and increased competition. Elon nodded approvingly. Smart. Growth comes with risks, though. Let's see if you can manage them. Sparks, not one to hold back, decided to up the ante. If we're competing, might as well make things interesting. He chose disruptive marketing campaign, a high-risk play that promised rapid growth but came with penalties if not countered effectively. The holographic board updated, showing Sparks' company leapfrogging ahead in brand value. Grizz raised an eyebrow. You're moving fast, Sparks. Don't blow a tire. Sparks laughed, but his grin was strained. Relax, old man. I've got this. Meanwhile, Tank continued his cautious approach. He selected strategic partnerships, boosting his company's resources while avoiding heavy risks. His steady climb drew murmurs of approval from the crowd. You're playing the long game, Elon observed. Solid strategy, but don't forget, sometimes you need bold moves to secure the win. The tension rose further as a surprise challenge appeared on the board. Market disruption event. Elon explained, this is where things get tricky. A new competitor has entered the game. forcing everyone to adapt or risk losing resources. How you respond will determine your position in the next round. Grizz frowned, studying his options. Sparks muttered a curse under his breath, and Tank quietly weighed his choices. The crowd watched in anticipation as the bikers faced their first real test of strategy. The holographic display glowed with new challenges as the market disruption event rippled across the board. Each biker faced a critical decision: adapt quickly or risk losing their hard-earned progress. Grizz was the first to act, his eyes narrowing as he studied the options. All right, let's see. Diversify holdings or cut losses. He selected diversify holdings, reallocating resources to shield his company from the disruption. His market influence took a slight hit, but his overall stability remained intact. Elon nodded. Smart move. Diversification protects you from unexpected swings, but it's not without trade-offs. Let's see if it holds. Sparks, true to form, grinned as he scanned the board. No risk, no reward, he muttered, selecting double down on core products. The crowd murmured as his company surged in value, only to falter when the disruption forced a penalty. Sparks groaned, slapping the table lightly. Guess I flew a little too close to the sun. Grizz smirked. Told you to pace yourself. Tank, who had been quiet and deliberate throughout the game, leaned back and studied the board. Looks like the safe bet is consolidate assets. He tapped the option, sacrificing short-term gains for long-term stability. Elon smiled. Consolidation ensures survival, but it also limits your ability to take advantage of new opportunities. It's a balancing act. As the round ended, the board updated, revealing the bikers' standings. Grizz remained steady, Sparks dropped slightly, and Tank's slow and steady approach put him in a solid middle ground. Elon addressed the group. This round highlights an important lesson. Markets are unpredictable, but how you respond determines your success. Do you stay steady, take bold risks, or play defensively? Each approach has merit, but the real question is, can you adapt? The bikers exchanged glances, the weight of Elon's words sinking in. The final round of the game brought the tension to a boiling point. The bikers were fully engrossed, their earlier mockery replaced by focused determination. The holographic display now revealed an ultimate challenge, the final merger. Elon stepped forward, explaining the stakes. This is where your decisions culminate. The merger will determine who comes out on top, but it's not just about numbers. Collaboration, negotiation, and timing are key. You'll need to strike deals with each other, or outmaneuver one another entirely. Grizz smirked, cracking his knuckles. All right, Musk. Let's see who's got what it takes. Sparks, still nursing his earlier setback, leaned in with renewed resolve. This time, I'm playing it smart. He initiated negotiations with Tank, offering a trade of resources to strengthen both their positions. Tank considered the offer carefully. It helps you more than me, he said, his tone measured. What's in it for me if I accept? Sparks grinned. A guaranteed second place instead of risking it all and falling behind. The crowd murmured as Tank weighed his options. Finally, he nodded. Deal. The two locked in their merger, pooling their assets to gain a strategic edge. Grizz, observing from across the table, chuckled. You two think teaming up will stop me? Watch and learn. He selected a bold option labeled Hostile Takeover, targeting Sparks and Tank's merged entity. The hologram flickered as Grizz's company surged forward, but the move left him vulnerable to penalties. Elon raised an eyebrow, his voice calm but instructive. High risk, high reward, Grizz. Let's see if it pays off. As the final decisions played out, the holographic board displayed the results. Grizz had narrowly secured victory, but the process left all three bikers reflecting on the value of strategy, negotiation, and adaptability. The game ended, but its impact was only beginning to sink in. The transformation, learning respect, and strategy. As the final results of the game displayed on the holographic board, the bikers leaned back in their chairs, their expressions a mix of exhaustion and contemplation. The competitive banter that had fueled the earlier rounds was now replaced with a quiet respect for what they had just experienced. Grizz, the declared winner, folded his arms and nodded. All right, Musk. I'll admit, it's more than just a game. That was intense. Elon smiled faintly, his calm demeanor unchanged. Business, strategy, life, they're all games in their own way. What matters is how you play and how you adapt. Sparks rubbed his temples, shaking his head. Man, I thought I had it all figured out in the second round. But then you throw in those curveballs with the market shifts and negotiations. That's not just strategy, that's psychology. Exactly, Elon said, his tone instructive but not condescending. You don't win by brute force alone. It's about understanding people, knowing when to compromise, and anticipating challenges before they happen. Tank, who had been quietly observing, spoke up. I wasn't sure about this whole game at first. But you're right. It's like the road. You can plan all you want, but if you don't adjust to what's in front of you, you're going to crash. The crowd, still lingering nearby, murmured in agreement. It was clear that the bikers weren't just competitors. They were students of a lesson they hadn't expected to learn. Grizz leaned forward, his expression serious. So, what's the takeaway here, Musk? You're saying we're supposed to think like businessmen now. Elon tilted his head. Not just businessmen, problem solvers. Whether it's the road or the boardroom, the principles are the same. The key is discipline, respect, and adaptability. The bikers nodded, their earlier bravado tempered with genuine reflection. The seeds of transformation had been planted. The bikers sat quietly, replaying the game in their minds. Sparks was the first to break the silence. He said, rubbing the back of his neck, I've always been about going big or going home. Guess that doesn't always work when the stakes are high. Elon nodded, his expression thoughtful. Risk-taking is important, but it has to be calculated. In the game, your bold moves put you ahead temporarily, but when the market shifted, you were left exposed. The same thing happens in real life. Tank leaned forward, his brow furrowed. I went the other way, played it too safe. I didn't lose much, but I didn't gain much either. It's like I was stuck in neutral. That's the challenge of balance, Elon replied. Safety keeps you steady, but sometimes you need to take a leap to grow. The key is knowing when to act and when to hold back. Grizz chuckled, shaking his head. And then there's me, thinking a hostile takeover was the answer. It got me the win, sure, but it also made a mess of the board. If this were real, I'd have a lot of cleaning up to do. That's an important insight, Elon said. Winning isn't just about the outcome. It's about the journey and what comes after. Short-term gains can create long-term problems if you're not careful. The bikers exchanged glances, their camaraderie stronger now than when they had started. Sparks grinned. Guess we've all got stuff to learn, huh? Who'd have thought a board game could teach us all that? Elon smiled. The best lessons are the ones we don't see coming. Growth comes from reflection, and you're already on the right path. The bikers nodded, their respect for Elon and for each other deepening as they realized just how much they had learned. The bikers lingered at the table, their earlier bravado replaced by thoughtful expressions. Grizz tapped the edge of the holographic board, his eyes narrowing as he stared at his final moves. Musk, he said, his tone quieter than before. I came into this thinking it'd be a waste of time. Now, I'm realizing it's not just about winning. It's about how you play the game. Elon nodded, his expression encouraging. Exactly. Success isn't just about the outcome. It's about the process. Every decision you make shapes not just where you end up, but who you become along the way. Sparks leaned back in his chair, letting out a low whistle. Man, I always thought the best way to get ahead was to be the loudest, the boldest. But now, I get it. Sometimes, the quiet moves hit the hardest. Tank, who had been unusually reflective, spoke up. It's like riding on the open road. You gotta know when to push the throttle and when to ease off. If you're not paying attention, you'll crash, no matter how good your bike is. The crowd, still gathered nearby, murmured in agreement. The transformation in the bikers was palpable, their rough exteriors softened by newfound humility. Grizz turned to Elon, his expression unreadable for a moment before a smirk broke through. All right, Musk, I'll give it to you. You've got a way of making people think. But don't think we're going soft. We're still bikers, after all. Elon chuckled softly. I wouldn't expect anything less. Being true to who you are is part of the journey. Just don't let that stop you from growing. For the first time, the bikers didn't respond with jokes or jabs. Instead, they nodded in agreement, their respect for Elon and themselves evident in their silence. As the bikers prepared to leave the table, the weight of the experience settled over them. Grizz stood, adjusting his leather jacket, and glanced back at the holographic board. You know, he said almost to himself, this game isn't so different from what we deal with on the road. It's all about knowing your limits, reading the situation, and having the guts to make a call. Elon nodded, stepping forward. Exactly. The road, the boardroom, life, it all comes down to the same principles. The difference is how you choose to apply them. Tank looked at Elon, a hint of a smile breaking through his usually stoic demeanor. So, what you're saying is we've been playing this game all along. We just didn't know it. Elon smiled. Precisely. You've already got the tools. You just needed a new perspective to see them. Sparks rubbed the back of his neck, chuckling softly. Guess I've got some thinking to do. Never thought I'd say this, but you've got me rethinking how I handle more than just a bike. The crowd, sensing the shift in tone, applauded softly, their admiration for the bikers growing. What had started as a rowdy confrontation had become a powerful moment of reflection and growth. Grizz extended his hand to Elon, his earlier swagger replaced with genuine respect. You've got my respect, Musk. This was different but good. Don't think we'll forget it anytime soon. Elon shook his hand firmly. Respect goes both ways. You've shown you're capable of more than you give yourselves credit for. The road ahead is yours. Just make it count. The bikers nodded, their camaraderie stronger than ever as they turned to leave. For them, the day wasn't just an encounter with Elon Musk. It was a turning point they hadn't seen coming. Resolution and takeaways. As the bikers stepped away from the table, the hum of the holographic board faded into the background. The once rowdy group now carried a quieter energy, their banter replaced with introspection. Grizz paused by the door, glancing back at Elon with a smirk. You know, Musk, I never thought a guy like you could teach bikers like us something we didn't already know. Guess I was wrong. Elon approached, his tone calm, but encouraging. It's not about who teaches who. Growth comes from being willing to learn, no matter where you are or who you're with. That's a lesson we all need to remember. Sparks, still fiddling with his helmet strap, chuckled. You've definitely got us thinking, that's for sure. Never thought I'd say it, but there's more to this whole strategy thing than I gave it credit for. Tank nodded, his voice unusually reflective. It's funny. We came in here trying to prove something, but in the end, you didn't need to prove anything to us. We just had to see it for ourselves. The crowd, still lingering around the lobby, clapped softly, sensing the significance of the moment. Elon addressed them with a small smile. Every challenge is an opportunity. It's not about avoiding conflict, but learning how to handle it in a way that leaves everyone stronger. Grizz turned to his crew, a newfound respect for Elon evident in his expression. All right, boys, time to hit the road. But let's keep this lesson in mind. Next time we roll into town, maybe we don't need to make such a scene. The group laughed lightly, their camaraderie intact, but now underscored with a deeper sense of purpose. As the bikers prepared to leave, Elon gestured to a hotel staff member, who brought over a sleek Tesla gift box. The crowd murmured in curiosity as Elon handed it to Grizz. What's this? Grizz asked, raising an eyebrow. Elon smiled faintly. Call it a token of appreciation for being open-minded enough to take on the challenge, and for proving that grit and strategy can coexist. Grizz opened the box cautiously, revealing a custom Tesla key fob resting inside. His crew leaned in, their curiosity turning into awe as they realized what it was. That's not just a key, Elon explained. It's an invitation. One of you gets to take the Tesla Model M prototype for an exclusive test ride. The crowd erupted in applause, and the bikers exchanged wide-eyed glances. Sparks nudged Tank with a grin. Guess all those slow and steady moves paid off, huh? Tank chuckled but shook his head. Nah, this one's Grizz's win. He earned it. Grizz looked at the key, then at Elon, his earlier skepticism replaced by genuine respect. You didn't have to do this, Musk. Elon shrugged lightly. Sometimes a small gesture can spark big changes. Consider it a reminder. Every journey starts with a single step, or in this case, a single ride. The bikers laughed, the weight of the moment balanced with their signature camaraderie. Grizz pocketed the key, nodding toward Elon. All right, Musk, you got yourself a new fan. But don't think we'll go easy on your bike. If it's not the real deal, you'll be hearing from us. Elon smirked. I wouldn't expect anything less. With that, the bikers turned toward the exit, their spirits high and their respect for Elon cemented. As the bikers roared out of the hotel parking lot on their motorcycles, the hum of their engines echoed through the crisp evening air. Grizz, now carrying the Tesla key in his pocket, led the pack with a newfound confidence that extended beyond his riding skills. Inside the lobby, Elon stood by the window, watching them disappear into the horizon. A faint smile crossed his face as he turned back to the lingering crowd. "Change doesn't come easy," he said, addressing no one in particular. "But the willingness to embrace it, that's where the magic happens." The crowd erupted into applause, their admiration for both Elon and the bikers clear. Many had recorded the entire encounter, knowing it was a story that would inspire far beyond the walls of the hotel. Meanwhile, on the road, Sparks revved his engine and pulled up alongside Grizz. "So, what's the first thing you're going to do with that fancy Tesla bike?" Grizz grinned, his eyes gleaming with anticipation. "Test it the only way we know how, by pushing it to the limit." Tank laughed from behind them. "Just don't forget the lessons Musk taught us, all right? We're not just riders anymore. We're thinkers too." The group laughed, their camaraderie stronger than ever as they tore down the highway. But beneath their rugged exteriors, each of them carried a spark of something new. The realization that respect, strategy, and adaptability could lead to a whole new kind of power. Back at the hotel, Elon watched the taillights fade into the distance. With a satisfied nod, he turned and walked away, ready for his next adventure. Because sometimes, even the most unexpected encounters can change the trajectory of more than just a single day. They can shift lives. And there you have it, a story of conflict, transformation, and the power of a challenge. When a group of bikers clashed with Elon Musk at a luxury hotel, no one could have predicted the outcome. Through strategy, respect, and a little Tesla ingenuity, they walked away not just as riders but as thinkers, ready to embrace the road ahead with a fresh perspective. This encounter reminds us all, the best journeys don't just test your limits, they redefine them. Thanks for watching, and don't forget to like, share, and subscribe for more inspiring stories. See you next time.